blue jeans and dark hoodies and had covered their faces. The motive for the attack is unknown. Australian nun Patricia Fox appealed the Bureau of Immigration order that affirmed the forfeiture of her missionary visa. The nun was caught joining opposition rallies and was ordered to leave the country. Erwin Temperante has this report.
Australian nun Patricia Fox appeared at the Justice Department to personally file her petition for review against Immigration Bureau who cancelled her missionary visa. Fox will not leave the country. Attorney Catherine Panguban explained, under omnibus rules of Immigration Bureau, it will put on hold all the orders of the agency if there's a pending motion.
Ito pong pagfa-file natin ng apela sa Department of Justice, under the rules po, this will stay the execution of the order of the Bureau of Immigration. Therefore, yung missionary visa ni Sister Patricia Fox is still valid.
In short message, Fox says she wants to continue her missionary mission in the country to help poor people and defend their rights.
Magpasalamat ako sa mga abogado at sa mga tumating dito para pag-support sa akin. Siyempre, ang wish ko ay tutuloy ang missionary work dito kasama ng mga mahihirap at sana yan ang resulta ng mga at mapatuloy ako ng trabaho bilang missionero, bilang human rights defender, bilang magpagalingan ng mga mahihirap.
Fox, who stayed 27 years in the country, was ordered to leave the Philippines after the Immigration Bureau forfeited her missionary visa last April 23, 2018. BI forfeited her privilege of holding missionary visa under Section 9 of the Philippine Immigration Act of 1940 and ordered her to leave the country due to her involvement in partisan political activities. For Eagle News, Erwin Temperante. I'm Juan with 25.
In other news, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov accused the Netherlands of speculation to achieve its political goals on the downed MH17 plane. Lavrov said his Dutch counterpart had been unable to provide evidence of Russia's involvement in the downing of this passenger plane. The Netherlands and Australia Friday accused Moscow of being behind the 2014 shooting down of flight MH17 over war-torn eastern Ukraine, with the loss of 298 lives in a move which may trigger legal action. The move came a day after international investigators concluded that the Russian-made Buk missile, which smashed into the Boeing 777 in mid-air on July 17, 2014, came from a Russian military brigade in Kursk. RT News website reported that last month, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stressed that Russia provided uncut radar location data, quote, that cannot be faked or changed, and clearly shows the missile didn't come from the direction the investigators claimed. However, Mr. Lavrov also said all data on the tragedy provided by Moscow was only selectively accepted by the multinational team of investigators. Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein has turned himself in to police in New York, where he's expected to face sexual misconduct charges. Now, U.S. media reported that the former power broker, once the toast of Hollywood, with his films winning scores of Oscars, had been indicted by a Manhattan grand jury. The New York Times and New York Daily News had earlier reported the charges against Weinstein would relate to at least one accuser, Lucia Evans, who said he forced her into oral sex in 2004. She detailed her accusations against Weinstein in an article in The New Yorker in October last year. Now, according to The New York Times, Weinstein is expected to put up $1 million in cash and will agree to wear a monitoring device. His travel will be restricted and he will surrender his passport. More than 100 women have accused the 66-year-old of crimes ranging from sexual harassment to assault and rape going back 40 years. More than 24 actresses, including Salma Hayek, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Angelina Jolie, say they were also sexually harassed by the producer. A few, including Asia Argento and Rose McGowan, said they were raped. Weinstein denies any non-consensual sex and has reportedly been in treatment for sex addiction. In other news, a fire broke out at Yangju textile and fabric factories that escalated into an inferno. Our EBC correspondent Christine Jewel Uy reports from South Korea.
Residents of Yangju, Gyeonggi province here in South Korea was alarmed because of the burning factories of textiles and fabrics. 23rd of May, at around 7 p.m., factories in Yangju was set on fire. The fire affected textile manufacturing plant in Unhyunmyeon, Yangju, which is part of Gyeonggi province, including a fabric factory, burning a total of around 3,000 square meters. 6 workers in the factory were quickly evacuated, leaving no casualties. However, the estimated property damage is about 500 million Korean won, or about $470,000. Police and fire authorities are still investigating the exact cause of the fire, but the strong winds yesterday contributed to its fast spread. Also, according to the witnesses, they assumed that the cause of fire could be electrical wiring shortage. The fire lasted for 2 hours. I am Christine Jewel Uy, your EBC correspondent from South Korea, and I am one with 25.
We'll take a short break. The news continues here on Eagle News International. We'll be back.
Health is our most important asset, and it should always be a constant.
Welcome back. Russia and Saudi Arabia said they believe a deal is possible to gradually boost oil output from as soon as July, as world oil prices have recently hit highs last seen in 2014. The two nations are the key movers behind a pact between OPEC and other producers that has limited production since 2017, but which experts fear may soon lead to a spike in prices. Saudi Oil Minister Khaled Al-Faleh said at an economic conference in Russia that a gradual output increase could happen in the second half of the year to prevent any supply shocks, according to the RIA Novosti agency. His Russian counterpart, Alexander Novak, said they had discussed whether they need to ease production limits. OPEC and 10 other oil producers agreed at the end of 2016 to cut output by 1.8 million barrels per day to clear a glut that had led to a collapse in prices in 2014. Now, the deal, which has been extended until the end of 2018, has led to that glut disappearing, and prices have recovered from around $30 per barrel to around $80. Uncertainties about supplies from Iran and Venezuela have led prices to spike higher in recent weeks, with industry players warning they could jump to $100 per barrel. Malaysian police said they seized over 400 handbags and cash, amounting to almost $30 million in raids on luxury apartments as they probe corruption allegations swirling around ousted leader Najib Razak. The money and a vast trove of handbags, as well as watches and jewelry, were found in 2 condominiums in Kuala Lumpur. Amar Singh, the head of the Commercial Crime Division, told reporters, quote, "From the money found, there were 26 currencies." Meanwhile, Najib's defeated party, the United Malays National Organization, or UMNO, insisted the seized cash was party funds, which the ousted leader had intended to return to the party. Fresh investigations into the 1MDB case have begun following Mr. Mahathir's election. Mr. Najib has been questioned twice this week by the Anti-Corruption Commission. Najib has long faced accusations of corruption and mismanagement over the 1MDB, which he set up in 2009. Mr. Najib has consistently denied taking money from 1MDB or any public funds. Several major U.S. news websites, including the Los Angeles Times, were blocked in Europe after the EU's new data protection laws came into effect. The LA Times, Chicago Tribune, New York Daily News, Baltimore Sun, and Orlando Sentinel websites all displayed the same message saying they could not be accessed. Unfortunately, our website is currently unavailable in most European countries, the message read. We are engaged on the issue and committed to looking at options that support our full range of digital offerings to the EU market. We continue to identify technical compliance solutions that will provide all readers with our award-winning journalism. CNN and the New York Times were among those not affected. The Washington Post and Time were among those requiring EU users to agree to new terms. Companies around the world are scrambling to prepare for this General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, which was enforced by the European Union starting Friday. Among the new rules which businesses have complained are too difficult to implement. Companies must reveal data breaches to regulators within 72 hours, tell users how their information is being used, and provide profile data to users on request. Parents will decide for children until they reach the age of consent, which member states will set anywhere between 13 and 16 years old. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said that he was rolling out the privacy controls demanded by European regulators to Facebook users worldwide because everyone cares about privacy. Speaking at the VivaTech trade fair in Paris, a day before new European data protection rules come into force, Zuckerberg said Europe's history had made its citizens particularly wary when it comes to data collection.
With the current issues that we see around hate speech and fake news, we need to be building systems using AI and other technologies that can go out and detect this stuff proactively. We're hiring thousands of people. By the end of this year, we're going to have more than 20,000 people at the company working on security and content review to make sure that we're proactively helping to get rid of bad content. In terms of GDPR specifically, It's focused on a few principles, right? Control, everyone needs to have control. There needs to be transparency about how your information is used, and there needs to be accountability when companies misuse that. And these are values that we've always shared.
Eagle News International will be right back. Stay tuned.
Health is our most important
Netherlands' intensive effort to reduce fine gas, they will also develop technologies that can remove nitrogen oxide through their partnership with 4 industries, including steel, petrochemistry, oil refining, and cement. This is Rona Nurpiol, EBC correspondent South Korea, and I am Juan.
Thank you, Rona. In Bahrain, a new program was launched by the government to tackle the country's stray dogs crisis. The year-long program is being spearheaded by the Works, Municipalities Affairs and Urban Planning Ministry in partnership with private veterinary clinics. Lex Alviar reports from Bahrain.
We are at East Rafah, Bahrain, where a joint effort is being undertaken to carry out a trap, neuter and release, or TNR program to help alleviate the growing population of stray dogs in Bahrain. Around 100 dogs were collected and brought on site to be neutered or spayed. The project has picked up a good stride through the efforts of local and international organizations and has seen fruition through its dedicated core coordinators, one of whom is Carrie Spores.
I moved to Bahrain in August, and I immediately became involved with the different rescue groups going out and feeding, and I recognized right away that this was a major issue in this country, and I felt like if I was going to live here, I needed to contribute to the country, and so my contribution has been 2 things: educating children at the school, and then also in the evenings helping to take care of the strays. So I sat down and I made about 20 to 25 inquiries online, asking different organizations around the world. I sent out an entire plea with what was happening in Bahrain and said, please help us. We need help. There is no resources here to help these animals. So Paul Maza, the professor from Cornell University, also the founder of Far Vets, said, give me more information. I want to know, you've given me a detailed email, tell me more about Bahrain. So I spoke to him about living here, what it's like, and he then said, sure. So in August, we began communicating further, a lot of communication back and forth via email. And so I got in contact with Sheikha Marwa. I shared all of my email correspondence with her from Paul, with Far Vets, and from there the ball started rolling, but it was extremely slow for something like this.
I see it very hopeful for the future. Obviously, like realistically, not every dog is going to find a home. However, one less dog on the streets is a big accomplishment for any animal lover, anyone who wants to see these animals find a good home, because every single one of them have potential with the proper love and compassion that they can get from an owner and from a family. Any of these dogs can be rehabilitated. Their aggression can be taken down, their anxiety can be taken down, and it really gives a lot more hope for them and hope for future animals. I think spaying and neutering the dogs now is definitely going to prevent this stray animal population in the future, which is definitely a great thing. The best option is to just nip it in the bud, and it's the most humane way. They get to live a full life without the possibility of creating more stray animal generations to continue living in the same turmoil that they themselves are living in.
By 2017, 18,000 stray dogs were estimated to be roaming the streets of Bahrain. Although there are several rescue groups operating on the island, little has been done to tackle the issue due to a lack of funds and general public awareness.
It is a joint effort between Tails Veterinary Center, Sheikha Marwa's new organization for animal protection and animal welfare advocacy. We have sponsors who are contributing to the food, to the cages, to the supplies. We've got California Pets, we've got My Pets, we have Azam Pet Center. So Bahrain Rescues, obviously we are the ones who are doing the groundwork. So it's kind of a joint effort from everybody's part. Ultimately, we hope that the government sees what a productive long-term solution that this is.
I'm the owner of Tails Veterinary Center, and we arranged most of the paperwork for the doctors and the medication and the licensing for this clinic to be supported and certified by the ministry. Okay. Of course, The project is more of a test approach at the moment. We are trying to test the water and see what kind of results we get. So far, the result is really promising. We've exceeded our targets.
The project has been fortunate to acquire support from various groups and establishments in the form of experts and professionals in the field. One of these is Dr. Paul Maza of FARVETS, a non-profit organization from Seattle.
One of our missions is to come in and help communities see that they can take control and responsibility of the project on their own. And it's shown here. Sheikh Marwa and Royal Animal Welfare Society and all the animal welfare groups, Rescue Bahrain, have really stepped up to take control. So what it takes is a commitment from the community. Of course, we have the animal welfare organizations, but we need more commitment perhaps from the municipalities, the ministries, and the government to help support these projects. But we would love to go to other places. We've been to Thailand, but because of my heritage, I'm half Filipino, I would love to go to the Philippines and start this project as well. But it takes an invitation from community members and willing to help set up a project like this.
So this program not only aims to help address the concern of the stray dog population in Bahrain, but also to educate the general public that there is a better solution to address this issue. I am Lex Alviar, your Eagle News correspondent from Bahrain, and I am 1 with 25.
A Catholic priest has been quarantined after being infected with the Ebola virus in the town of Mbandaka in the Democratic Republic of Congo. DRC health officials launched a small targeted vaccination campaign this week to help rein in the latest Ebola outbreak in the country, which so far has claimed 27 lives. Kinshasa announced on May 8 that there had been cases of the notorious hemorrhagic fever in a remote northwestern district called Bikoro. Last Thursday, the first case was reported in a city, Mbandaka, a transport hub located on the Congo River. Now, according to a World Health Organization count, 58 cases have been identified since early April. Ebola spreads through contact with bodily fluids and is both highly infectious and extremely lethal. Meanwhile, a fourth member of the same Indian family has died from the rare Nipah virus, according to officials, as authorities scramble to contain an outbreak that has already claimed 11 lives. V. Musa, who died Thursday in a hospital in the southwest state of Kerala, had 2 sons and a sister-in-law succumb to the same deadly infection spread by fruit bats last week. Dead bats were found in a well at their home in Koshikode district, the epicenter of the viral outbreak that has authorities on high alert. A nurse who treated one of the Musa sons also died, leaving a heart-wrenching note for her family. Now, officials suspect the zoonosis infection outbreak that causes disease in both animals and humans spread from the unused well at Musa's home where the dead bats were found. Dozens of other suspected patients were being quarantined and many more monitored by health officials in at least 4 districts in the state. 1 in 3 Australians need blood at one stage in their life, which is one of the reasons that Iglesia Ni Cristo members in Sydney did their part by volunteering to go to the Australian Red Cross Blood Donation Centre to do just that, donate blood. Here's Raylene Quinto for the report.
As the worsening health conditions of future generations continues to be a point of discussion in popular media, the members of the Church of Christ in the local of Western Sydney endeavour to promote health and well-being in its wider community over the next 2 days through a blood donation drive and help day.
On May 12, members of the Church of Christ made their way to the Australian Red Cross blood service centres located in the suburbs of Parramatta and Nipah. For many, it was their first blood donation. At their appointments, they were carefully guided by the staff, who ensured their safety and care, and also congratulated them on being part of the 1 in 30 Australians who regularly donate blood.
So we prepared for this event as a youth leader by conducting meetings with my fellow officers and delegating them tasks in order to hold this blood donation event.
In conjunction with this event, members of the church are gathering at Western Sydney Chapel in Minchinbury. Here, they are conducting free health checks, a health seminar, fitness programs, and a chapel tour. In addition, there will also be a variety of healthy foods, a children's activity program, a winter wear drive, and a fun photo booth.
The following day, May 13, members of the local community took advantage of the services provided by the church. Guests had their BMIs checked and were also given advice on maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Many utilized the photo booths with their friends and family, while others indulged in the healthy food that provided them the energy for the lineup of physical activities.
Honestly, the winter wear drive, I was a part of it as well. This was successful as we did have boxes that we didn't expect to get filled up, but because of the help of the community, we were able to fill up these boxes in order to donate them to the Australian Red Cross.
Well, this activity is aimed to increase the awareness of the brethren in when it comes to the importance of taking care of the physical health, because to be physically fit is very beneficial for all the people here in this world, especially here in this congregation.
I reckon the most successful part of this event was the fitness activity, because it was a pretty windy day today, so getting your body warm was pretty good. I reckon it was really good, it's really successful because we gave the main message to our fellow brethren and guests of being healthy, so with healthy eating, with physical activity. So before they left the event, they know what's good for them as an individual and also tell it to other people as well. I am Raylene Quinto and I am 1 with 25.
All right, let's get the latest in sports from Ben Bernaldez. Ben?
In NBA, the Houston Rockets edged the reigning champion Golden State Warriors 98-94 on Thursday to move within one win of reaching the NBA Finals. The Rockets, who led the league with 65 regular season wins, took a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 Western Conference Finals, and with one more victory can deny the Warriors a fourth straight trip to the championship series. Golden State, whose streak of 16 straight home playoff wins has halted the Rockets on Tuesday, will try to fend off elimination when they host Game 6 on Saturday. The winner of the series will face either the Cleveland Cavaliers or Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals starting on May 31st. The Cavaliers, who have played the Warriors in each of the last three finals, trailed the Celtics 3-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Houston point guard Chris Paul scored 18 of his 20 points in the second half as the Western Conference heavyweights went toe-to-toe. The Warriors led by one going into the fourth quarter, but Eric Gordon scored 10 of his 24 points off the bench for the Houston in the final frame to help the Rockets turn the tide. Gordon drained a three-pointer to put Houston up by 4 points with 1:21 remaining, and he came up with a steal on Golden State's last possession to seal the win. Houston's most valuable player candidate James Harden struggled from the floor but finished with 19 points. The only downside for Houston was an apparent hamstring injury to Paul that saw him limp off in the final minute. Kevin Durant led the Warriors with 29 points. The Rockets honored victims and survivors of the deadly shooting at Santa Fe High School on May 18 before the game. The Rockets provided tickets for more than 300 Santa Fe High seniors, along with some of the staff and first responders, to attend the game, and players wore a commemorative patch on their uniforms. Star guard Chris Paul departed Houston Western Conference Finals Game 5 win over Golden State in the final minute Thursday, and his status for Game 6 was unclear. Paul played a pivotal role in the Rockets' 98-94 triumph, scoring 18 of his 20 points in the second half. But after missing a shot in the lane with 51.7 seconds remaining, he hit the court and came up clutching the back of his right thigh. At first unwilling to depart, he finally limped off after a chat with Rockets athletic trainer Keith Jones during a timeout with 22.4 seconds to play. Paul, the league's Rookie of the Year in the 2005-2006 season and a 9-time All-Star, is playing in the conference finals for the first time. The 33-year-old, who starred for the Los Angeles Clippers before arriving in Houston in a trade last June, missed 24 games this season with a variety of injuries. Warriors star Draymond Green said uncertainty over Paul's status wouldn't change Golden State's preparation for there. For EN Sports, I'm Ben Bernaldez and I'm 1 with 25.
The Japanese city of Sapporo tells the Olympic Committee that it wants to join the race to host the 2030 Winter Olympics rather than the 2026 Games. Our EBC correspondent from Japan, Tyra Lu, reports from Tokyo.
While Sapporo City in North Japan shows interest in the 2026 Winter Olympics, the city government is hesitant to bid for it, but rather sees the 2030 Games a better option for them to focus on. According to the city's bid promotion department spokesperson Akihiro Okumura, in an email sent to the Associated Press, Sapporo has not made an official decision yet. Public opinion polls recently done by the local media and Sapporo Chamber of Commerce said it might be better for Sapporo to bid for the 2030 instead of the 2026. This is actually one of the factors we need to consider. Okumura said the city and Japanese Olympics Committee were still weighing all possibilities. Sapporo last hosted the Winter Olympics in 1972 and was commended for it. However, they may have the cards stacked against them for the 2026 Games. The International Olympic Committee will decide on the bids in October and the winners will be picked in September 2019. 6 other cities interested in the 2026 Winter Olympics include Calgary, Canada, Graz, Austria, Erzurum, Turkey, Milan, Turin, Italy, Sion, Switzerland, and Stockholm, Sweden. Sapporo may also run into tough competition if it decided to bid for the 2030, as several others expressed their interest. Lillehammer, Norway, often cited as the best ever Winter Olympics and once played host to the 1994 Winter Olympics, and the Salt Lake City, who hosted the 2002 Games, have also suggested their interest. And while Stockholm has not yet hosted the Winter Olympics in the past, they may be the early bet for it with the success of the 1912 Olympics they hosted. Reporting from Tokyo, Japan, this is Tyra Lu for Eagle News International, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Tyra. And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. I'm Alma Angeles, always 1 with 25. Good night.
Susunod na programa